been talking a lot about our minds. Obviously, that's all I talk about, but how they function and this idea of kind of the battle that goes in the mind. I've been positioning as the conscious versus the subconscious. Not sure that's exactly the right term, but let's go with it. So I thought I'd use a practical example today, and really a live practical example to think through and see how this framing, this construct holds in a real example. So the example is professional work. The short story of it is I was on a call today, a new project we're starting up at work, and the senior person on the call suggested or mentioned, like, hey, we'll just get together Sunday and we'll review this stuff Sunday. We'll do it then. And my reaction to that and how I'm going to handle that situation. So, a bit of context. I don't know this person terribly well, pretty senior in my organization. I haven't worked with them before, though, so don't know their style. I don't know if this is a one-off thing. Don't know any of that, but I know they said it relatively matter-of-factly and casually. I know my reaction to it in the moment was physical, in that it felt like, oh, what do you mean Sunday? Like, that doesn't seem right. My first thought of that is there's a degree of, you could say, laziness to that, but probably more so it's an authority thing, right? I tend to have issues with people that I view or think are exploiting their power or abusing their authority. And to me, this person suggesting working on a Sunday when there's not really a reason for it and doing it in such a casual way with people on the phone like myself who doesn't even know that well, that feels like an abuse of authority. So it's a negative reaction to it. So the question becomes, what do you do about it? And that's where I think the battle comes in. Because the conscious me, as I lay everything out and I look at the equation, the mental math into this, it feels relatively clear, right? Working on Sunday is something that should happen only when necessary. Few and far between, only when necessary. There's a high threshold in which has to be passed for that to happen. Otherwise, it's not a good thing. It's an objectively bad thing to me. There's discomfort that comes with it. It's a negative. There's a high cost to it. I don't want to do it, right? All else equal, I do not want to do it. There's some benefits to doing it, right? It minimizes friction. I don't rock the boat too much. My direct boss, who's also part of this, I don't have to deal with them. First impression with this guy, right? It's probably simplest, though. It just minimizes friction. There's discomfort in the difficult or awkward conversation I'd have to have with this person to say, hey, I'm not going to be in that meeting on Sunday. I'm not going to make it. And that outweighs the discomfort of being at the meeting, because there's discomfort on both sides. And as I talk about the subconscious mind, really all our mind, but the subconscious mind is particularly good at it, is optimizing for minimizing discomfort. So likely the calculation will play out as such where I will be on that call, right? So my conscious mind will lose, my subconscious mind will win. And if I was really being not thoughtful about this and just kind of going with it and at the whim of my subconscious mind, I would justify it in some way. As I said, I would tell myself, it's not that big of a deal. It's the first beginning of the project. I don't want to make a bad impression. I don't have anything else going on anyway. It'll only be for an hour. All the things, right? There would be all sorts of things I would do to justify. I might even go, right, as an example, and complain to my wife or somebody about what bullshit it is and how, I shouldn't have to put up with this, just to kind of give myself, my conscious mind, the impression that I have more agency or control than I do, to make myself feel less, emasculate is not the right word, but, like as if I have more authority in a situation than I do, right? It would be fake, but it might cover that. So those are all those cognitive outs. Those are all the things the subconscious mind is instantly calculating to say, hey, I ran the math, right? Subconscious mind. I ran the math really quickly. It will be more uncomfortable for you not to attend this meeting, but your conscious mind kind of has this value or belief that you shouldn't work on Sundays. You don't like working on Sundays. It will make you feel bad about yourself if you do it, like you're not speaking up and you're being, abused in some way, whatever, taken advantage of. So that needs to be reconciled, and the subconscious mind will come up with these excuses and stories and cognitive outs and etc. That's probably the way it would go if I wasn't being thoughtful. It's likely the way it may go even with me being thoughtful right now, which is interesting. And you say, well, like, explain that, right? Your conscious mind is kicking in. Why can't you override it? And I guess the short answer right now is it mental toughness? Is it the logic, mathematical thinking? Because those are the two components I usually talk about for how you combat the subconscious mind. You use the mental math, the logic, and you use the mental toughness those two things together can overcome it. I'm not sure which one it is, to be honest. My first gut is it's probably more the mental math and the logic. Like, I probably believe the subconscious calculation, right? Which is not a surprise because that's what it does. It convinces the conscious mind that it's right, right? I'm believing the stories it's telling, that it would be more uncomfortable for me to miss it. Which I guess, if I think about that, and again, I'm kind of doing this live, that doesn't mean that I believe, right? The subconscious more likely would take the cognitive outs of justifying and saying, I don't know, you should be on it. It's better for you to be on it. Or right there, like it's not a bad thing. I'm acknowledging it's a bad thing. I do not want to be on it, but I'm also being realistic. I'm coming to the same calculation as the subconscious mind that the reason to do it anyway is that the other side would be worse. So that's where I think the mental math isn't there. Am I proving that? Am I checking that math to say, what actually would it be if I called up this person, or they called me, or they set this meeting for Sunday and I declined it, and I put in the note, hey, really sorry, not going to be able to make it on Sunday for whatever reason, and I can think about the right response. I have some family commitments that I just can't miss. Happy to connect on Monday and whatever work needs to be done, etc. There's an unknown fear or discomfort there that that's outweighing the discomfort of being on the meeting on Sunday. And that's probably why I say it's the mental math, it's the logic that I'm falling short on right now, because I'm not checking that. And it becomes interesting because why am I not checking that? I'm not sure, to be honest. Is it a mental toughness thing where the answer might come back that it's actually not that bad and therefore I should do that? But there's like an inherent conflict in that, because if it's not that bad, if I prove that out, then it should be easy. It should be simple. Oh, then just do that. But it's almost as if I'm afraid the truth is going to tell me it's not that bad, you should do it, but I'm still afraid to do it. There's still pain. Like, it's almost as if I don't trust the math that's coming back on it, which doesn't really make sense, right? Unless there's something I'm not calculating in there, I'm not being honest about, or maybe it is just the mental toughness. Like, there's going to be some discomfort in that. It's a different type of discomfort. For some reason, I value it as worse. It's interesting. It's interesting to think about. It makes me think, and I'm not sure if this is it, and I'll wrap it up for sake of time, but is it the flex in the system concept? Is it the idea that if I put that note out there and say I'm not attending, there's a rigidity to that. There's a set in stone kind of nature of, I've now committed to, I'm not attending. And now I'm definitely going to get some discomfort from whatever that feedback is. It might just be in me, it might be guilt, it might be something that I'm feeling. It might be that they overcompensate and make me work more on Monday and Tuesday. It might be that they're pissed at me and I get a nasty email back. It might be that I get fired. I'm in some ways ensuring that that's going to happen. Versus if I go the other route, there's a little more flex in that I can maybe convince myself that it's not that bad. It doesn't really add up, right? In theory, discomfort is discomfort. And if you weight it correctly, it is what it is. So the discomfort of not attending the meeting, it's either more or less than discomfort of attending the meeting. And what I seem to be coming to the conclusion of, the subconscious and the conscious, is that this is worse. Not attending the meeting is worse. So that would suggest everything's fine. But it's weird because there appears to be a part of my mind that's saying, like, I don't believe that. I think I'd be better to be honest. Like, I think logically as I lay it out, I should just be honest and not attend the meeting. I don't think it'll actually be worse, which makes me wonder, like, is this a live example of my subconscious mind overriding the logic of my conscious mind? Like, my conscious mind is trying. It's like, it's like, hey, I don't see it. I'm telling you there's something wrong here, but my subconscious mind is kind of smashing it down. And somehow, like, the way it's manifesting out in my rhetoric and my articulation of it is a conflict, a confusion of, like, this doesn't seem right, but it's what I'm gonna go with, and it feels deep rooted. It feels almost like I can't question it. Maybe that is the subconscious mind. So I need to think more about that and how I would combat that. But it's an interesting live example of some of those things I've been talking about.